Hey guys, this is Richard. I'm the web developer at Square One Media, and I created something the other day that I think is really cool, and I want to show you that today. I created a way in WordPress for you to sort search results and archive and category results in various ways. You can sort by newest, oldest, title ascending, title descending, most comments and least comments. Granted, they're not the most imaginative titles, but that's what I've chosen for this tutorial. What this does is it allows the user, once they've made a search on your website, to sort the results how they see fit. By default, WordPress displays results from most recent down, which is here newest. This also works in archives and categories, but it works slightly differently, and I'll show you the differences shortly. I've also built in automatic support for my search by category, which is in another video, which I'll put a link in the description for. I'll show you how to include the search by category for this, and I'll show you how to have it without. So let's get right to it. Now in this tutorial, we have it as a drop down. You could easily replace that with links, etc. So I'm going to show you the code. How we've brought this into our page is a simple get template part in our search form here. So like in previous videos, we've used get template part here to bring in a custom page that we've called custom sort form.php, which is here. I've broken it down into two sections. We've got the actual work here, and then below we've got some fancy JavaScript, which I'll explain to you shortly. So to start off, because I've included built-in support for the search by category, it's slightly different than if you had without it. So we want to look, first of all, to make sure that the page being displayed is or isn't an archive page. An archive page is classified as archive and category, etc. But we want this to just be slightly different for search and archive. So if I just show you the workings of the web page here, if we just go to the URL bar here, you'll see that because I've got built-in category support, it has category 0 there. And if I decide to sort by something else, not only do we bring in the same search query, but category appears there. And you see how this order by equals date and order equals ascending. That's because you can pass those query variables to WordPress and it knows automatically what to do. Now the reason we check if it's an archive page is because if we pass the search query to an archive page, it will break. So we check if it's an archive so that we don't send the search query to it. And if not, it means it's a search page and we send the search query. So we check if it's an archive, and if it is, what we want to do is open up a select tag, which is here, the HTML5 select, and we give it an ID of sort box and the onChange. Now this is where the work comes into play. This is what makes it change the page once you've selected another option. So we have this document.location href equals, and we want the question mark because we're passing it as a query, and then we have this dot options, this selected index dot value. Now I know that might sound a little bit alien to anyone who's not familiar with JavaScript sort of stuff and things like this, but basically what it's saying is we want to pass as a query whatever the value of the selected box is. In the else, which is what shows on our search, we do the same thing, but we have the search query because we want to keep passing the same search query between each page. So we include that in the URL, and also the category because that's what we've built into it. Now this is where this selected index dot value comes into play. These options here have a value, and each one is set up as follows. So we have here order by equals date and order equals DSC. That's newest. And then we have the repeated variable there, but we order it ASC, which is ascending, for oldest. And then we order by title, same again, and order by comment count, because WordPress can handle these variables quite easily with built-in support, and especially for comment counts. Now what happens when you choose an option in this select box, because we've got the onChange equals here, it will automatically pass the same URL to itself and include this in that URL. So it automatically passes the selected variable. So that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else really to go into regarding that. So I'll show you the JavaScript section at the bottom, which I just scroll down here. Obviously, you don't write your code like this all separated by massive gaps, but it's just easier for the video for you guys. Now what I wanted to do in this box, I wanted it to stay at the same option that you select when it changes the new page, and to do that we require some JavaScript, because otherwise it will just default back to the newest at the top whenever you change this. We just set up an if statement that checks for variables in the query bar when the page is loaded, using the get PHP function here. Now, if you're not familiar with get, it allows us to capture variables that are in this query bar in the URL. So we can capture the cat, or we can capture order by, etc. So when the page loads, this JavaScript runs and it does an if check on the various variables in the URL bar. So it checks if order by equals date, title, comment count, etc. and in what order they are. So we do order by equals date, order by equals descending, and so forth. And if one of these if checks returns true, what it does is it grabs the element which we've given the ID of sort box, which if we scroll up is this select box here. So it grabs the ID of that and changes the displayed value to whatever we've put here. So if it's been sorted by, for example, title in ascending order, it grabs the option that has the value order by equals title, order equals ascending, and sets that as the displayed value in the sort box. And if I just remind you here, the option value here, this is where the name of those values come into it. So it might seem a little bit confusing for anybody who's new. I know I've said that about 3 times now, but I just want to hit it home that don't be afraid of using seemingly complicated code, especially if you're starting out, because the best thing about developing websites or developing software when you're learning code is trying out new things, and those aha moments where you look at something and you go, wow, yeah, I get what that means, I get what it's doing, I understand what's going on. Because programming is a simple case of learning what things do and learning what does what. I would suggest you look at complicated code or code that you think is complicated and try to figure out what it's doing. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. This is creating a sort drop-down menu to sort the posts. And if you've got any tips of your own following on from this, please leave them in the comments below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and check out our other videos. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'm Richard from Square One Media. Take care.